Hello class. We're about to start on section 5.1, Introduction to Decimals. Okay, section A, word names for decimals. Now I know in your course pack that it's shifted a little bit, so what I need you all to do is to write in these values. We have 1 million, we have 100,000, we have our 10,000s, we have our thousands, we have our hundreds, our tens, and our ones. Then we have our decimal here. Now, everything in front of the decimal here, you notice ends in S. We start with our ones place. So the ones place is the value before your decimal, in front of your decimal. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and millions. And then, of course, we go on to the billions and so on. Now, behind the decimal, each one of these place values end in THS. Now, we have tenths, which is equivalent to 1/10. We have hundredths, which is 1 over 100. Thousandths, which is 1 over 1,000. 10,000ths, 100,000s, and millions, and so on. Now, if you notice this, behind the decimal, we do not have a ones place behind the decimal. We emulate basically all the other place values except for the ones place. Like tens, we add tenths. Hundreds, we add hundredths, and so on. So directly behind the decimal is our tenths place. Now we scroll down. Now, also, let me go back here. Remember back in chapter 1, when we were writing place value, I told you to not use the word and. And means decimal. When we're writing numbers in this section and all of the sections that we add decimals, in order to write out that number, you must use the word and when it has digits behind the decimal. So that decimal point is very important because that lets you know where to put the and. Now we look here at number 1. It says shade 0.7. I took the liberty of already shading this. Of course, this should be solid, but in your notes, you should shade this all the way in. You should shade 7 of these bars here and leave the 3 blank because it's 10 bars, so 7 of the 10 is 0.7, which is 7/10. Okay, now number 2. Number 2 is basically the same as number 1. It's still 7/10, but we have 70 here, which is 70 hundredths. So what we have here is 100 blocks, and what we have to shade in is 70 of those 100 blocks, which is here. Now, we scroll here to problems 3 and 4. Now problem 3, we look here. This 7 is in the hundredths place. So this is 7 hundredths. We have 100 blocks here, so we need to shade in 7 of them, which I did here and which you should do in your notes. Now number 4, this is 36 hundredths. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to is we look at the last place value behind the decimal. And in this case, this 6 is in the hundredths place. Whatever the last place of the decimal value, that is how you end the wording of that number. Like this is 36, but this 6 is in the hundredths place, so it'll be 36 hundredths. So what we do is we have 100 boxes here, and what we do is we find 36 of the 100 boxes and shade them in. So that would be your 36 hundredths. Now we look here. It says writing or reading a decimal in words. Number 1, write the whole number part in words. Number 2, write and for the decimal point, which I told you earlier. Number 3, write the decimal part in words as though it were a whole number, followed by the place value of the last digit, which I just told you in problem number 4. So now, let's scroll down here to the examples. It says write each decimal in words. Now we look here. we see we have the number 6. So we will write 6. Now we look at the place value. The place value is hundredths. So we'll write hundredths. Now remember, it's very important that you put the THS at the end. That signifies that it's behind the decimal. Now we look here at number 2. Number 2, we have negative 87, then we have our decimal, and 31. Okay, so first, let's write this out. We could write negative 87 we have to use that hyphen there. Now we have negative 87. This was in front of the decimal. Now we have to include the decimal value, which is the word and. So we have negative 87 and then we'll write 30. We need to use our hyphen. We have 31. And the 1 is in what place? You're correct. It's in the hundredths place. So we had negative 87 and 31 hundredths. Okay, now number 3. Number 3. This is 200 205 and we have 70 3. Now the place value that the 3 is in the thousandths place. So it'll be 205 and 73 thousandths. Okay, now for number 4. If you notice, we have all of our digits aside from 0 behind the decimal. We do not have to indicate the 0 that's in front of the decimal. So basically we will concentrate on the number behind the decimal. Now this number is 829. So we'll write 829. So we had 800 29. Now we have 829. Now we look at the place value. We had tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s. So we'll put 10. thousandths. Now remember, you must have that THS at the end to indicate it's behind the decimal. Now we scroll down here. It says example, fill in the check to CLECO, Central Louisiana Electric Company, to pay for your monthly electric bill of $207.40. Now, what we have to do here, we could fill in the date. Let's just use today's date. Today is the 11th. And it's 2012. Now, pay to the order of, we could put, well, some companies will allow you to put their initial, so we're going to do that. We'll put CLECO. And then also, we need to put in the dollar amount, which is $207.40. Okay, now, one of the most important parts here is to fill out the words, because even though you may fill out the digit amount here, you must have the words correct for the check to be any good. So we will write 207 and then you could write it like this. Now this is how I write my checks, and this is acceptable. You could write 40 over 100. So this is read as 207.40. Now you have to sign this. We could go like this. Now just scratch anything there. You could say your memo is electric. Just for your records. Okay, now we scroll down here. Looking down here, example 1, we had 39 and 42 hundredths. So we will write 39. The word and means a decimal. 42 hundredths, that means that that 2 must be in the hundredths place. So it'll be 4, which is in the tenths place, and the 2 is in the hundredths place. So it'll be 39.42. Now it says 302 thousandths. So we'll write in 300, put our decimal. Now we know the first number behind the decimal is in the tenths place. The second number is in the hundredth, and the third number is in the thousandths place. We want a 2 in the thousandths place. So we'll put zeros to cover the tenths and the hundredths place. So we'll put the 2 in the thousandths place. Now we come down here to number 3. It says 302 thousandths. So if you notice, there's no and here. So that means that all of this is behind the decimal. So we'll have 0 and our decimal. Now this 302 thousandths. Now in this last problem, we notice that the thousandths place is 3 digits behind the decimal. This is 302 thousandths. So that would stretch in those 3 places. So we'll write 302, and this 2 is in the thousandths place. So it'd be 0.302, and that's it for that problem.